feels just right. I can't explain it. It feels so simple.
What's up everybody? Before we jump into this video, I'm very excited to announce I've got a partnership with the Aircraft Model Store. They're awesome, they have the highest quality stuff. Use the link in my description, it'll help support the channel and you can get yourself some savings and awesome models. Please check it out, I'll really appreciate it. Thanks. Okay, so let's get into the video. We ended off the last video by doing our first foil and testing everything out. So today we are ready to start constructing our final airport. This is what we're going to be building today. We're going to be building these 5 gates going up the line. I think it's gate 159 to 153, 151. That's how they're marked. And we're going to try get all of this done and the taxiway to the right of these gates done in this video. As you can see, here's a big overview of everything we're going to be constructing. So it's quite big. I think it's about 400 meters long and we're going to go all the way down. So where we left off last time, we're going to have to go this time. We're going to have to redo all the foils to turn them from the satellite image format into ground foils that we can print. So if you weren't here for episode 1, it'll be linked in the description. It'll also be a playlist for it. So I'd recommend you start there. But what we're trying to do here is essentially remove everything that's 3D. So you want to remove cars, shadows, buildings, gateways, and whatever else might be on your airport. Maybe a plane. You have to get rid of all the 3D elements. So once you've got rid of all the 3D elements, I like to go over the lines in detail. This just lets them pop and on the foil you can actually see it. So all I'm doing is looking at the lines from the satellite image and then doing them with the line tool on my photo editor. If you guys need help with this step or whatever photo editor you are using, let me know in the description. I'll answer all questions and queries and get right back to you. So you're going to go over your whole image, just adding in lines, the little details, and making the ground foil painting lines pop above the concrete. So this is an important step because it can look a bit dull from the satellite image. So you're just basically adding color and the details to the ground foil. Here we are moving on to the next gate. Obviously this is a very time consuming process. So I've done it in a time lapse. This time lapse is at 75% the speed. So however long you watch this for, just imagine it taking 75 times longer to actually do. It's a very time consuming step, but it's all part of the process of creating these super realistic ground foils. So as you can see, these are looking exactly like the LAX ones. Well, they obviously are satellite images from then, but then adding the details around them and making them pop gives you a 100% accurate ground foil of the airport. So this is exactly what it would look like if it was shrunk down to 1:400. As you can see, I'm just doing all the lines, just highlighting all those details. And I wanted to quickly thank you guys for all the support in episode 1. You guys are amazing. This series is going to be epic and you guys are showing it a lot of support. Remember, if you haven't, hit that subscribe button. You don't lose anything and it helps the channel grow. So you'll notice one thing I'm doing is I'm constantly going back to the satellite image just to make sure I'm drawing all the lines in correctly. This just makes sure everything is super accurate and I didn't want to miss any details. It's important to notice that a lot of the stuff I'm doing is just going to be building. So that's less important, especially if you've got a lot of building. You're just essentially replacing that with what the concrete ground foil looks like. And all that's going to do is it going to mean when we build the buildings and place them down, there's not going to have to line up exactly and they'll be covering all the way to the building. So you won't have these big gaps or white spaces or anything, which is very important. In today's episode, once we've done all of these foils and we're happy with the progress, we are going to move along to actually putting them onto our board and starting the process. So hopefully by the end of the episode, we have all these ground foils down and it looks really good. Again, if you need any help with this process at all, leave a comment and I'll help you. And if you want links to my foils, if you want to build the same airport along with me, just tell me in the comments and I'll email you all the files and everything you need so you can follow along. But guys, I'm sure you're sick of hearing my voice. Let's put on some music, watch the end of this time lapse, and you can just watch the satisfying process.
It feels so simple, loving always. It feels just right. I can't explain it. It feels so simple, loving always. It feels just right. I can't explain it. It feels so simple, loving always.
Okay, so once you've finished with all your ground foils, you want to save them as images and we're going to export them to Microsoft Word as an image format to make sure they all line up. Unfortunately, I saved them all as the wrong image file, so this is what they looked like.
Oh, no, 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 no.
Yeah, very annoying. So everything you've just watched, that time lapse that was sped up 70 times, I had to do that all again. every single bit of it. So after I'd finished, I'd finally got everything done. Here is what the foils look like. So then you can import the photos to Word or PowerPoint. I actually use PowerPoint because it was easier for me. And you want to take the photos you've just edited and put them all onto Microsoft PowerPoint. This isn't the most important step we're going to do, but it's good just to ensure that you have everything. So as you can see, I'm layering out all the images next to each other that we have, just to ensure that everything fits together. It doesn't have to line up perfectly because we can still scale all the pieces, but you just want to make sure you don't have any gaps and that you haven't missed any essential or big pieces. So you can see I'm just adding in all the gates here and lining it all up. You can see it's all starting to come together, and this is just me ensuring that all the pieces are there and that they all fit together accurately. I do big overlaps when I do this, so you'll notice the pictures overlap each other, so there's a lot of detail that's doubled up, and this just means you can fold them on top of each other when you stick them to the ground, which makes it a lot easier to not have little gaps forming, so you essentially are stacking them on top of each other as you go along. Here's what my final foils were looking like after I laid them all out. I thought it looked pretty epic, so I was pretty chuffed with this. The next part of the process is the most important. We have to scale these to ensure that they are the exact same size and that they all fit together. So to do this, we're going to just first check all our foils line up, and then depending on the scale, so you could be building a 1:400, a 1:500, or a 1:200 airport. And we're going to need to open up Google Earth. This is a very important part of the process. So opening up Google Earth, you're going to see there's a measurement tool. We've discussed this in video 1, but we're going to use this measurement tool to measure key parts between the airports. This will be 47.19 meters for me. And then you're going to go across to a calculator. I'm just going to quickly type it on PowerPoint so you can see how we're going to do the math. But essentially, we're just going to pop a text box in here. And we are going to take that value we just had, which was the 47.19, I believe. Or 12, my apologies. And we're going to have to divide this number by 400 because everything in real life is 400 times bigger than our airport is. If you're building a 1:200 model, everything's 200 times bigger. You divide by 200. And if you're building a 1:500, you divide by 500. You can just pop this in a calculator. I just used the one on Google so I can show you the process. So essentially, you're just dividing these two numbers from each other. So we're going to go 47.19. 12, my apologies, and divide that by 400. This is going to give us 0.1178. And because our original measurement was in meters, this is going to be in meters as well. So when you're doing it, just ensure whatever you measured that distance in is what you're going to have at the final side. So we're going to have 0.11 meters. This is equal to 11 centimeters, or I believe 117 millimeters. So it's very important to convert that. And then once we're done that, we're going to measure out a piece of paper. So you're going to take an A4 piece of paper or whatever paper you're going to print on, and you're going to measure that out in the same measurement. So I use millimeters for all mine. And then you're going to make sure that your Word document piece of paper is the same size. Essentially, you're ensuring that you have two A4s of the same size, one digital and one in real life. This means when we print, we're going to print on that scale and ensure everything fits perfectly. So if you have any questions about the scaling, I'm happy to help. It's quite a tough process at the beginning, but once you get your head around it, it becomes very simple. So this printing out now is an exact 1:400 scale. I scaled it on the Word document by using those measurements and a ruler on the screen, while ensuring I had the 1:400 piece of paper. So next thing to do is to print all your foils. Here are my printed foils, and you can see we've left white paper on each side. This is important because it means that none of the details are going to get cropped out by the printing. I recommend you do this as well, and you can see everything is lining up perfectly. So once you have these, we're going to obviously have to remove the white pieces of paper. And another thing you can do is ensure your measurements are right. So that measurement we took earlier on Google Earth, I'm taking my millimeter measurement and ensure that it's printed at that number. So essentially here I'd be looking for that 117 millimeters to ensure it's correct. Now we're going to want to cut. I use a blade here and a ruler. This is the most accurate way to cut paper by far, and it's the best way to do it in my opinion. So I recommend you do this as well. It's just a craft knife and a ruler, and you're just going to cut out the foils to ensure there's no white pieces of paper around them. So only the foils will remain, and just make sure you go slow. There's no need to rush this process, and it's important to ensure that they're very detailed, so there's no need to rush. You're just going to cut all four sides of the piece of paper out, and smooth it all out. And I'm going to put this in a time-lapse form because it's obviously very boring to watch, but essentially there you could see I'm lining the pieces of paper up once the white's cut off, and you can see that overlap, how the image is almost duplicated. This just ensures when we stick the one piece on top of the other, there's going to be no gap and we can accurately scale everything. So just finishing off cutting out all the pieces, obviously a very important piece of the process, pun intended. So I'm going to go and repeat this process. There is a plane on the foils just to ensure everything's the right size, and this looks very good. Obviously it's not stuck down, but I'm loving the way these foils are looking. It looks so amazing with the plane. So I've printed out all the other pieces we're going to need for this, and now I'm just cutting them all out. Essentially all those ground foils we edited, we've scaled, and we've printed. So that's the process we've gone along. So first we edited them to the ground foils instead of satellite images. Then we've scaled them on Microsoft Word using measurements from Google Earth. And then we've printed and cut off the excess pieces. So if you're stuck anywhere along the process, I'm always available in the comments and I will get right back to you and help. And if you want these ground foils to also build LA, you can follow along with me. Obviously these are 100% accurate, but you will need to scale them yourself. So I've cut everything out. I think this looks epic. I've put down some planes just to check the scale, and this looks amazing. So I'm very, very happy. Everything is perfectly to scale and all the textures are joining up perfectly. So this is a big win and I'm very, very chuffed with it. Now we can get to the exciting stuff and start the actual process of sticking them onto our ground foil. So this is one of the 3 pieces of wood we bought in episode 1. And for this you're going to need your foils, some paint brushes or foam brushes, roller and Mod Podge. So you're going to need all of these items before progressing. Just make sure you have them. Then you're going to need to give the board a wipe down just to get rid of all the dirt so there's nothing sticking under the foils. Just use water and a cloth, but make sure it's dry before you start sticking the foils down. And you're just going to essentially clean the whole board before beginning the process of sticking everything down. So sorry about the filming. Unfortunately, the person who was helping me filmed in portrait mode instead of landscape, so that's a bit of an L, but we move, so I've had to edit it. So if it looks a bit funny, I'm sorry for that. All we're doing now is laying out all the foils to ensure we have everything we need. This is just important just to ensure you didn't miss any pieces one last time, and then we're ready to start the process of sticking them down. So I'm laying the piece of paper where it needs to go, and then I'm drawing marks with a pencil just to ensure that I get everything in the right spot. Here I'm just checking my measurements one last time, but everything should be scaled perfectly. And then I'm just drawing a reference line. This isn't important, but it just helps me when I work to know that everything is on a 90-degree angle. So just draw a reference line across the top. That's what I do with every airport I build. And then we are ready for the exciting part. We can start sticking the foils down. So you're going to need to use your Mod Podge. Open it. You're going to get some Mod Podge on your brush. And following your line, you're just going to do the bottom bit, essentially 1 or 2 strokes. Do not overuse the Mod Podge because we're going to come back later and put layers on it. So you don't need to worry about using too much. More is less. Oh wait, less is more. My apologies. Yeah, less is more. So you're going to put the Mod Podge onto the board on your line. And then once you've brushed it all in, you're going to take the foil, make sure it's the right one, press it down on that line. Make this just be slow and accurate. There's no need to rush, but don't worry about making mistakes. As you'll see later, I made a lot of mistakes and I'll show you how to fix them all. And then you're just going to slowly rub it in to that bit of the Mod Podge, giving it a firm stick. I like to pull it up just to ensure there's no air bubbles. And this just helps me stretch the foil out and ensure that nothing creases or folds. Here you can see I'm marking the top, and then I'm going to Mod Podge everything that we've yet to stick down. So I'm just modging all the remaining area and giving a nice even coat. You have to get every part of where the foil is going to stick, otherwise you're going to get stuck with bubbles, and those are the worst. So just make sure when you do this you're going slow and accurately and getting all of the board covered in Mod Podge before you stick down the foil. Then we're going to fold the foil back over. I like to pull it hard up just to ensure that it's at full size. And then I got a little hand here, but all you're going to want to do is rub that down onto the board, making sure it's sticking fully to all of the Mod Podge on the board. Next, we're going to need to use our roller just to get rid of all those little air bubbles. You can see the little air bubbles there. And I use paper towel here. This just means the roller is not going to scratch or stick to the board. You're going to place your paper towel down and then roll all those air bubbles out of the foil. An important part, but you can use anything as a roller, even the Mod Podge can or tin, whatever you call it, and you're just going to want to make sure you give it a nice even roll. This is just going to flatten out all those air bubbles and ensure the foil is flush with the board and looks like it is a part of the board. So you're just going to go over that process for all your foils. Obviously, I'm not going to show you me doing all of them, but I'm going to conveniently cut to a super fast time lapse and you can watch the magic happen. Enjoy. Okay, now that we have all our foils stuck down and rolled, I want to show you what it's looking like. It's looking very nice. Obviously, I've made a lot of mistakes. You can see I've left out a big gap here. There's a missing bit of the foil, which is just an error in my scaling there. And this bottom bit of the board is also missing. So this is also good. I can show you the road is a bit skew and not everything lines up perfectly. This is okay. We can fix this. So to do this, we're going to repeat the process from step 1. We're going to take a snipe of the airport of where we are working, what we missed, edit it in our photo editor, scale it, print it out, and then we're just going to overlap it on top of the board. So here's me printing out some pieces of road, and as you can see, I'm just sticking the pieces onto the existing pieces. Another time lapse, but you can see where I messed up on the road, I'm adding road. Where I messed up at the bottom there, I'm just going to add those pieces. So wherever you messed up, you can just print that little piece, stick it on top of your existing pieces, give it a good roll, and it'll all flatten out, and it will be like the mistake never happened. So enjoy the time lapse of me fixing up my last few mistakes. And then we're on to the final thing we're going to have to do. We're going to have to add a layer of Mod Podge on top. This is a very important layer, and it's just going to ensure that everything is flush and stuck down and that all the pieces are glued together. There's no flaps, there's nothing to stick out or nothing in the way. You want to do as many coats of Mod Podge as you can. So I did 4 coats, 1 from left to right, 1 from right to left, 1 from top to bottom, 1 from bottom to top, and then the diagonals. And very excitingly, that brings us to the finished bit that we wanted to work on for this episode. I am absolutely thrilled with the way this looks. It is photorealistic. The details are immaculate, and I'm just so happy. The camera didn't really show it in its full detail, but I'm going to use a different camera and give you guys a full overview if this will focus, but it looks stunning. As you can see, there's a bit of green and purple spots on the foil. All this is the Mod Podge drying. It's going to take some time to settle, but this is not going to be a problem. So I'll just quickly show you a little lineup we've set up at our airport: Emirates A380, Swiss A330 300, Cathay Pacific 777 300ER, just getting some bags on, and a Virgin Atlantic 7878. And then in the small gate down here, we have a Delta 737 900ER, and taxiing, we have an American 777. I'm absolutely thrilled with the way this turned out. I think the details are immaculate, and if you compare this to the satellite images of LAX, it is 100% accurate. So we'll just go down the other side. If you guys have any problems, leave a comment and I'll help you get your airport to this stage. I'll do anything you guys need. Please subscribe. It is really appreciated. The channel's growing. I'm uploading again, and I really do have the best community, and I'm super chuffed and happy to bring you guys content. Now I'm just going to show you some photos of the airport like we ended the last video, and you can just see some of the details. Guys, also remember, if you need anything for your model airport, planes, accessories, use my link in the description. It helps support the channel and it helps you guys save. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the photos.
And I've been chilling, watching the ocean with you. Baby, up with a slow motion crew. And we up in our cloudlands when people change, but not us. And we just chillin', kicking it, kissed by the sun. Could be soaked to the skin in the mall soon. I know she got the good vibe.